I'm not.
Hey, Tina, I
Can
can't hear you, but I am going to go ahead and start and hope that you guys can hear me. Good morning, everybody. This is Chris Kissel. Good morning, everybody. This is Chris Kissel, and I am coming to you with the Mindful Movement class. All right, this class is designed to teach you move, treat you and teach you with moves that will keep your body moving. So when you go to get into a fitness program and you're jumping around and you're doing all your cardio and you're doing everything you need to do to move, and then a day later you're like hurting so bad you can't move, we don't want that to happen. So we want to ease into this gracefully. If you are a exerciser that have exercised all your life, I'm going to teach you things you might not know. If you have to stretch every single morning to get your body moving, you might need to know some of these moves so we can take away the tightness in the body. So my goal is to have your body moving flexibly with strength and stability. What you're going to need for today's class is a yoga block and a bare wall. We're going to start standing at the wall. And just a yoga block, it can be anything that you can just step your foot over. It doesn't have to be a yoga block today, but we're going to do a little step over, so something you can step over. So that being said, I want to let you know that we're focusing on the heart today, okay? So we're going to start off with a little breathing from the heart. We want you to be knowledgeable that your heart is one of the strongest muscles, if not the strongest muscle in your body. And you do need to do cardio to keep that heart strong. But we also have to be conscious of our heart. And I want to teach you a little breathing technique that improves the function of the heart. So what I want you to do is take your left hand and place it on your heart. And then I want you to take your right hand and place it on your belly and just relax those shoulders. We're going to do a little breathing. So I want you to breathe in your nose. And I want you to feel that breath come all the way down to your belly, but before it gets there, your heart opens up too. And I want you to exhale with a sigh. Ah. Feel your heart beating under your hand. Go ahead and breathe in through your nose. Get a deep breath. Bring it through down all the way down to your toes this time. And then exhale with a sigh. All right, let's get started. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus a lot on the ankles, because if your ankles are stiff and immobile, you will be suffering either at your knees, at your hips, at your back. It can even translate all the way up to your neck. So if you have pain in anywhere of those bodies, we want to make sure your ankles are moving, because if they're not, none of this is going to get better. So let's get ready. So what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on the wall about shoulder height. And so we're about an arm's length away from the wall. You can step back your feet a little farther back. And we're not yanking and stretching on these ankles. We're going to be purposely moving this ankle joint, okay? So what I want you to do is take your left foot and I want you to place it up by the wall. Just let's start out with it happening a couple inches away from the wall, because most people have pretty stiff ankles. If you can go farther back, we'll find out. Now I want you to pretend like you have two guardrails on each side of your knee. So pretend like your knee is a bicycle tire, and we're moving that tire right into that little column where that tire fits in. So what I want you to do is I want you to now push your foot into the floor. Push it really hard into the floor. Like you're accelerating, you're getting ready to go on the highway, okay? This back leg is just hanging out. Now, guide that knee right in between those guardrails, nice and purposely, nice and mindful, and take that knee to the wall. It looks easier than it is. Come back. And now, once again, what are we going to do? We're going to push on that gas pedal. Stay in that push. Engage everything all the way up the leg as you guide that knee right into the wall. So we have those guardrails for a reason. I don't want your knee going all the way around here to get to the wall. We've got to guide it because we're guiding those bones right in our ankle joint. So push the foot down and then press the knee towards the wall. Great job. Now what I want, if that's not challenging enough, to make it more challenging, you just bring your knee farther away from the wall. And as you do these more and more often, you will find that you can get your knee or your foot farther away from the wall. But you do not want this back heel to come up. So remember, we're pushing on the gas, we're driving the knee into the wall. Let's switch sides because you'll probably see a difference between one side and the other. So you play around with where your toes need to go, how close to the wall they need to be. If they need to be right at the wall, that's okay. But to challenge yourself and to get better and to progress, you want to gradually be bringing that foot away from the wall. Same thing, we're pushing our foot on the gas pedal. We're driving our knee between those guide rails and we're pushing it into the wall. Good job. Now, this is the perfect thing to do right in the morning before you, not before you get out of bed. It'd be kind of hard to do this in bed, but when you get up to get the ankles going. And if you can keep this back heel on the ground, that's fine. If it comes up a little, that's okay because that's not the leg we're working right now. And we don't need to put a severe stretch on that leg. So we're not stretching, we're actively moving the muscles on the front side of the ankle that take us into this position we call dorsiflexion. Good job, good job. So now we're going to strengthen our calves. A lot of times you will have tight calves. It's not necessarily because, well, basically it could be a sign of weak calves, all right? Tightness is a sign of weakness. So what I want you to do is I want you to have your feet flat on the floor, about hip distance apart. We're about a shoulder length away from the wall. The only reason we have our hands on the wall right now, well, one, you can use it for balance if you need it, but I don't want you to find yourself leaning into the wall when we lift up. We want to pretend like we're little ballerinas. I want the top of your head going straight up to the ceiling, okay? So here we go. We're going to push our toes down into the floor and we're going to lift our heels up off the floor. So we're pushing our toes down to activate all the muscles in our arch. So take it down. Now push your toes down, very important. Lift the heels, lift the heels. We're strengthening those calves and drop it down. Now we've got 3 positions to do with this. So our toes are straight on to start with. Now what I want you to do is keep your heels where they are, but just turn your toes out where they can comfortably go. Look down, make sure they're turned out even. So if one can't go as far, just adjust the other one. Same thing, you're going to push your toes down into the floor and you're going to lift your heels up. Nice. We're creating strength in the arch. We're creating strength in the calf. We're creating strength. This one purposely works the muscles on the outside of the leg. So push your toes down and lift your heels. Now the third position we're going to do with this is we're going to turn. Now this time you are going to lift your heel off the floor to get in position, but you're going to turn your feet in. So your toes are pointed in. not real drastically. You don't want strange pulling in your hips when you do this. But what I want you to do is I want you to push your toes down again and lift your heels. So if you don't push your toes down and lift your heels, you're just kind of rolling up on your foot. When you push your toes down, you're purposely activating the muscles in the feet. So push your toes down and lift your heels. Good job. So those are what we call heel lifts. They're just as good as hanging your calf off a step or going into one of these stretches. When you go into one of these stretches, yes, you're taking tightness away, but you're not creating strength. And this class is all about creating strength in the muscle before we take the tightness away. So once these muscles are very strong, they're not going to get tight. You're not going to feel the need to stretch them out. So now, if you can, I want you to join me. This is where you're going to need your yoga block or something to step over. But I want you to join me down on your knees. If this is not comfortable for you, we can do this in a standing position. You will just be standing and you will be working the foot up and over the block. But I'm going to show you this in a kneeling position. So this is where we're going to take our block and we're going to place it right in front of our left knee. All right, so we're up tall here. And what I want you to do is come up and bring your knee up here. And we're going to lift the foot up and take it over the block and take it back. So if you have a yoga block, that's why this is good. There's 3 different ways you can do it. You can do it at level 1. So I'm up nice and tall. Actually, the block is right on the outside of your knee or your foot. You're going to lift up and over, up and over. We're doing hip mobility here. So the more advanced version of it would to have it really high at this level. I prefer it at this level. So let's get our form. You're going to come up in a nice tall kneel and you've got your leg in a bend. You're going to engage your core, pull your tummy in tight as you lift your legs. You always want to have that tummy in real tight. So pull that tummy in tight, lift up and over, up and over, up and over. So we're creating strength in this hip flexor. Let's switch sides. So go ahead and get in your half kneel position here. Then place the block on the outside of your foot and bring it up and over, up and over, up. And if you'll notice, the rest of my body is not moving. I'm just moving this hip. And I'm keeping my ankle flexed. We just got that worked out. We just taught it how to do that. Good job. So now we've got the wall. We're down on the floor. Let's have a seat with our back to the wall. So these are going to be for your quadriceps right here. What I want you to do is I want you to back up to the wall as close as you can and then bring one knee up. So if this is not possible, I'm going to switch legs so you can see. But if this is not possible, all you do to make this a little easier is you scoot your rear end away from the wall. But I want you to focus on keeping your back nice and tall, the top of your head going towards the ceiling. And I want you to flex your foot of the straight leg back towards you. And I don't want you to think of the toes coming back towards you. We're still thinking about what we did at that ankle. I want you to think of the top of the foot coming towards your shin and letting those toes just go along for the ride, okay? So from here, we're sitting up nice and tall. The back of my head is to the wall. My shoulders are back to the wall. And all I'm going to do is lift my heel up off the ground a tiny bit. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. You should feel this deep in your quadricep muscle. Lift and lower, lift and lower. And then you're going to switch legs. So if you're new to this and you're getting a cramp in that leg, go ahead and lift and lower. But if you find you're getting a cramp in one leg, just switch legs because this creates a nice, comfortable position for that cramp to go away in. Once again, the top of my foot is coming back towards my shin. I'm sitting up nice and tall on the wall, and I'm lifting and lowering. So the more advanced position for that is to have your hips just tucked right up to the wall there. If you're just starting out with this move and the foot won't lift off the floor, you scoot out till it does. So once we're here in this nice position at the wall, let's take the opportunity to move our shoulder blades a little bit. So we will be moving our shoulders, but I want you to focus on the shoulder blades. So your arms are dropped loosely by your side. You're looking straight ahead, and your shoulder blades are on the back of the wall. And I want you to pretend like those, those white erasers or whatever, or sponges or something. I want you to pretend like we are cleaning the wall with our shoulder blades. So you're going to push those shoulder blades back to the wall, and you're going to slide the shoulder blades up so your shoulders are actually coming up towards your ear. And then you're going to push those shoulder blades back into your back pocket. So squeeze it up. But you're all the while, your shoulder blades are flat against the wall, and then you're going to push it down. So what your shoulder blades are literally doing is they're sliding up your rib cage, and then they're sliding back down. There are so many muscles that attach to our shoulder blade, and we want to make sure they're all engaged. So our shoulders have nice, fluid movement. All right. Couple more of these because they feel so good. Squeeze those shoulder blades up. Remember, they're cleaning the wall behind us, and push down. Good job. Good job. Okay, now that we're on the floor, we're going to go to the hips a little bit more. And I want you to get in a position where your knees are parallel to the front of your mat. So what I want you to do is take your left knee in front, your right knee in back. Your knees are even at the edge of your mat. Let me scoot back so you can see this. Yeah, they're even right here at the edge of your mat. Now you're going to take your left hand and use it as a kickstand behind you. And what I want you to do is I want you to push your shoulder down. So remember how we squeeze that shoulder blade down? It's going back down in our back pocket. Keep that shoulder blade pushed down as you lift up your hips. So we've got a nice wide space between our shoulder and our ear. Now I want you to squeeze the back side of this hip and push the hip forward. So by squeezing, you're allowing this to open up. So we're not yanking on this tightness. We're activating the glute on the back side to open this up. So once we've got that opened up, let's just reach up and get a nice stretch. Get long through the shoulders, nice long wingspan here, and keep pushing that hip forward. So let's create a rainbow with our arm. Pretend like you got all those pretty colors shooting out of your fingers, and we're going over and back. And we're creating a nice stretch with movement. That's the key. Keep moving. Dynamic stretching. Good job. All right, let's sit down. We're going to stay where we are on this side. I want you to turn your torso towards your left knee. And I don't want you to do it with your shoulders. I want you to take your rib cage, and I want you to think of your rib cage moving across your body. The right side of your rib cage is going towards your left knee. Once it's there, place your hands on the floor. Lean over, walk your hands out, and go down to your elbows. Once we're down here, we're going to work our hip. So I want you to take that right knee, keep the foot on the floor, lift the knee up off the floor. Down. Lift and lower. Lift. So we're opening up the hip again. We're creating external rotation of the hip right now. Now we're going to change that rotation of the hip by keeping our knee down and lifting our foot up off the floor. Lift your foot up off the floor. The action should be coming from here. should not be pulling in your knee. All right, let's switch sides. So go ahead, switch your legs up. Your right leg is in front, your left knee is behind you. We're going to take our arm and we're going to push our shoulder back into our back body here. Shoulder goes down as we lift up on the knees, and we're nice and tall here, okay? Take this hip and squeeze it on the back side. Squeeze it, pushing this open. Push it open. And from here, let's make little rainbows. Back and forth, back and forth. And you can take a look at your hand. You can follow your hand, get a little movement in your neck, and take it down. Good job. So what we're going to do now, you're going to stay where you are. We're going to address the torso, rotating towards the right. So the left rib cage is coming over to the right leg. The shoulders are following along. Take your hands, walk them forward. Good job. Now come down to the elbows. Once you're here, I want you to take that left knee and lift it up off the floor. It's not going to go very far. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Good job. Now we're going to keep the knee down and take the foot and lift and lower, and lift and lower, and lift and lower. So we're getting those hips all lubed up. All righty, let's work on the hips one more time. So this time we're going to keep our feet on the floor, and I want you just to drop your knees to the left and come back to center. Then drop your knees to the right. Come back to center. So we don't want to get a momentum going here. We're just going back and forth. Let's readjust every time we come back to center. So go to the left. Come back to center. Remember, this is mindful movement. Go to the right. Come back to the center. And I'm not saying all your exercises need to be slow and controlled like this, but what you teach your body these moves, when you're moving quickly through moves in an exercise class, your muscles know what to do. So that is the purpose of this class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining me in Mindful Movement. I want to remind you once again, take care of your heart, keep it pumping, go for those walks, go for those runs, and be mindful in your movement. Thanks for joining me today.